Howdy. I sat through a timeshare pitch, so you don't have to. Welcome back to Dion Talk. Welcome back to Financial Freedom for the Lazy Person. The question is, are you lazy enough to want to make work optional? Make work optional so you can travel as much as you want. My goal for the next few years is basically to spend more time traveling than I spend at home. Not because home sucks, but because there's a lot of stuff to see when you've been trapped in a job for most of your life. So one of the things that comes up when you travel, if you stay at any resorts, is the pitch to buy a timeshare. Most of my life, I never understood how they worked or what they were about. And I had never sat through a presentation, so I had the same questions maybe you do watching this video. So I sat through a timeshare pitch. Maybe you won't have to. Maybe you will. Maybe you're the person it will fit. I've done videos in the past on how bad timeshares are because they're so hard to get out of that there are complete firms of attorneys that dedicate their firm to getting out of your timeshare. And one of the downsides to this is the big pitch is that this timeshare can last for 30 years. And if you don't last for 30 years, your heirs can get it. It's a great pitch. You can inherit a timeshare. By the end of this video, you will understand why that could be a nightmare. So the idea is, why would you sit through a timeshare pitch? I'm traveling to all these different countries, and there are hotel chains that have multiple hotel chains with different names linked together under an umbrella of a timeshare. And so if you're staying at any of these, they will have images of these are all of the other hotels you could be staying at using our point system. And I don't want to say it's predatory. I'm not going to have enough positive things to say because there are some people that might make sense for. I might rely on you to tell me who that is. However, why would you sit through this if you don't have a YouTube channel where you want to share with people what your opinion of it was? Because they pay you. The hotel chains will give you in-house currency to be used at any of the hotel chains. I'm not going to name them. Of somewhere between $150 to $300. Spend an hour and a half in our slightly uncomfortable chair in our very neutral toned room so synesthesia can start kicking in about the 45-minute mark, and you'll do almost anything to be agreeable and to get the hell out of there. But you stay till the end because you don't get your payout until you've listened to the whole thing. The challenge is, do you have the backbone when sitting across the desk from somebody with a really nice personality in another country where you're trying to fit into the culture, and they, towards the end, start using psychological tricks to get you to be agreeable? The first thing they do is they don't really talk money. I took a picture, made sure there's no names in it, and I'm going to share that picture with you on how they doodle and bring up websites and give you very good examples of how much money you will save if you own a timeshare and you travel. In the 1990s, I got involved with this thing called Network 21, which was basically a closet version of Amway. You draw bubbles and you tell people how much money they're going to make if they get to this diamond rating or blue diamond or diamond elite. And it all made perfect sense until you did the math on what you had to buy for it to actually make money. There were some people who were successful with it. And that was the trick to get the people in who weren't. So I'm not saying that MLMs are good or bad. If it wasn't for Network 21 or Amway, I don't know that many of us would know about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was originally marketed through Amway. I mean, Oprah made it blow up and become what it is. But these things have an impact on everybody. So do timeshares. So it's an hour and a half presentation with a lot of tricks. First, there's scarcity. You sign a form with all of your data, so they collect everything because you're looking at $200-300 on the line if you sit for an hour and a half while you're on vacation, and some days you don't have much to do. So they pitch this with you, and they offer you some other things to go with it. You know, maybe a free meal, maybe a free event at the hotel or an excursion or something. And so you're thinking, yeah, I could sit for an hour and a half. That's fine. I can not go swimming for an hour and a half. But you can only listen to this thing once per 2 years. which means that whatever you hear in this pitch is today only. If you don't commit today, whatever discount or deal we worked out on paper goes away. Scarcity, first psychological trick. Second one, a whole bunch of mirroring. If you've taken my course, you know what mirroring is. Parroting, using your verbiage. So if you call it vacation, they call it vacation. If you call it travel, they call it travel. They start using your words so that our brains are aligning and you're not competing with grammar or sentence structure. They have been trained to speak the way you do. And they try to use anchoring by asking you, how often do you travel? When did you start traveling? How old are your kids? How old are you? How far back in your past can I make you think about, making you think that I've been there with you since you were a kid and you wanted to travel? That is called anchoring. And the further back you can put somebody into their past, the more trust you garner from them. So you gain their trust, they gain your trust. They ask you for favors. Bear with me while I go to this website. So they give you the resort credits, the free things in exchange for listening. And I said yes for two things. I wanted to make this video. And I really wanted to know how it works. What is a timeshare? Why do so many people buy timeshares? And then so many people talk about the regret of owning a timeshare. Well, the pitch is the timeshare lasts for 30 years, but you pay today's prices. Whatever you commit to paying today is what you'd pay in 30 years. So if somebody bought this timeshare 20 years from now, they're going to pay whatever inflation's done to the dollar 20 year down the road currency. So there's an idea that you can beat inflation there because the hotel rooms are going to cost more in 20 years, but you're going to use the same cost of points in 20 years that you use today. Bit confusing there, high level thing to get you thinking, maybe I'm not smart enough to understand this. So I'm just going to sit back and nod and smile like most people do when you don't understand something. How many vacations will you take in the future? Let me show you these websites of all of these great places that you could go. Picture yourself there. Another, build the dream, because here's salesmanship for you. Build the dream, demonstrate how you are the path to the dream. Normal salesmanship. Sounds smart until you look at the details. Like every sales funnel, there are tiers. If you travel a week a year, you can get 5,000 points. A little bit more, you can get, I think there was 5, 10, 25, or 30. I said I travel about to 7 or 8 months a year. Their brain froze for a second. And they said, well, you're probably good for 25,000 points. And so they quickly went to a website for the hotel I'm staying at. And they said, here's one of the hotels you can stay at. In this hotel, the stepped up, so the rooms are, $300 or $400 a night. And if you get the stepped up one, which is the private villa with the private pool, they picked a random day, just randomly on the hotel days, some month in the future and some random day where the hotel night are the hotel rooms are about $1,000 a night. They were like $1,130 or something. I'm in that freaking room, private villa, private pool, for $200 a night for a month with holidays in the month. So the first thing they show you is if it was expensive and it's over $1,000, your points are so much cheaper. Basically saying that a room that was $1,000 and your points were $1,000 a night for the stepped up room, in about 10 years, you break even. What the F does that mean? How do I break even if I'm using points versus dollars? Very confusing stuff. But I'm a numbers guy, so I took a picture, and let me see if I can figure the tech out to share an image. Yes. Hey, look at that. Okay. So, no names of hotels. I would have redacted if it was there. But what is this Diamond Elite? Elite ownership. So it's not timeshare, it's ownership. All the way through the entire pitch, you are referred to as an owner. Our owners, XYZ, our owners do. So inclusion, luxury, ownership, status. I was guided towards that 25,000 points. and told, basically it's 1,000 points a night. So you'd be able to get one of your months, almost a full month, in one of the stepped up rooms without having to spend $1,000 a night, even though I'm spending $1,000 per 5 nights. I didn't call them on it. So 25,000 points. They pull resorts from all over the world and they ask you qualifying questions. What do you like to travel for? If you like skiing, I assume I would have seen all of the ski lodges. I like warm weather and scuba diving. So what did I see? Bali, Spain, several Thailand, all of the places that I tend to go. I'm in Thailand. I talked about Majorca. So magically, they have what I'm looking for. They will have what you're looking for. All of this, so far, there's no money mentioned. You see points, you see deposit, it's percentages. Some of these doodles happen later in the conversation. I didn't understand what's going on, and I'm not retarded. But I was trying to keep up because I had some questions as we went. So here's where the math breaks. If it takes 10 years to break even, if instead of paying $1,000 a night, you're paying 1,000 points, how long does it take to break even on a 30-year commitment if the rooms cost $200 a night? Well, their example was 5 times the cost, so it would take 5 times the number of years. So on a 30-year commitment at this price, I would break even in 50 years. One of these is not like the other. Now, the lifestyle demo lasts about the hour. Like the numbers and the pitch and everything don't even come until the last 30 minutes, where they judge how interested you are. So if, let's say, you want to buy a timeshare, you've been through the pitch more than 2 years ago, so you're magically allowed to take it again, and you go forward saying, yeah, I'm gonna go do this pitch and get the best deal I can, and you are going to buy it. Don't tell them that. Wait till after the hour of the lifestyle pitch and the mirroring and the anchoring and the pairing and all of the psychological tricks that get you to nod your head along to any question that they want to get a yes from, and you're going to commit to this purchase. So if you're going into the meeting knowing you're going to buy it, wait, because the 140 first time money was mentioned after an hour, 140,000 became 110 pretty quick because of the deal today, the scarcity. And if you don't do it today, you're signed a contract. You can't sit through another meeting for 2 years. Yay. Okay. It's designed to get you thinking emotionally, not financially. Activities. They have what I'm looking for. If I don't do it today, I'm going to lose a bunch of money. Wow, 140 down to 110. That's $30,000 saving. 30-year commitment. I break even in 10 years. I'm going to travel for 20 years after breaking even. How much am I going to save? Nothing, because it takes 50 years to break even. This is for the people who don't do the math the way I do. How long does it take to recoup your money? And this is off the cost. The real killer comes up in a second. I don't believe I'm being as fair as I thought I was going to be. That's why I said I was going to ask you. These fit for somebody. Let me know who. Maybe ultra wealthy, buy them as a gift and give them to somebody else. Let me tell you why that's dangerous too. So imagine how much you save after you break even, because you don't get there by 20 years. That's the hook. But you don't do the math when you're sitting at the table. I really didn't do the math until I went back to the room, because I was thinking, yeah, they kept showing me the 10 years, $1,000 versus 1,000 points, 25,000 points. You get 25,000 points per year. So if you travel 25 days, they'd be covered. If you travel 6 months, once you reach financial freedom and make work optional, travel as much as you want. One of those months is free, basically, for $110,000. Now, annual ownership fees, bottom left-hand corner. What's that? You might ask yourself randomly, like I did at the hour mark. $2,500 per year for 30 years, whether you use your points or not. Not included in the $110,000 commitment. When the pricing come up, tone changes. This is where they're really looking at you for facial expressions. Is this something you want? Are you scared of numbers? Are you scared of commitment? When I said, I like to take a few days and think about something, I magically get the boss, the manager, Zoom called into the meeting. Very charismatic person, makes connections on several levels and says, hey, what can we work out here? What if we gave you 50,000 points your first year instead of 25? We double the number of points. Who cares? What the heck are points? Who cares? But it's double whatever you were getting before. That sounds like a lot of value. What if we take your deposit? It's a deposit. I don't like to buy things unless it's good debt, which is going to make me more than it costs. This is possibly bad debt that's going to be consumer debt that I'm using my assets to pay for if I was going to do it. I make the deposit less. So you don't have to come up with $22,000 today. We can make it 16.5. Look how much you just saved $5,000 because we had a conversation. You think emotionally, we saved $5,000. What do you mean deposit? Well, that means payments, right? How do the payments work? He says, don't worry about that. Use our money. Word for word, don't worry about that. Use our money at 9.9% interest. So sure, they want a smaller deposit because that's more money financed. No credit check. We're not going to bother your credit score. No income verification. You're staying here. We know you got money. You just pay us back over time. 9.9%. Written on the form, never talked about verbally, never brought up verbally until I go, what's this 9.9 mean? So if you don't ask, that wouldn't have been covered. Use their money, pay them back over time. Sounds like free money. So for 25,000 points over 30 years, the price was $140 reduced to $110. And when I hesitated, they offered the double points. They offered the lower down payment. Rules change pretty fast. So like I said, if you go into this meeting absolutely knowing you are going to buy a timeshare, make them talk you into it. You'll get more than what you would if you just went in and said, hey, I'd like to buy this thing. Kind of like when I went to the Marine Corps recruiter and said, I want to blow stuff up. And he said, sign right here. That was all it took. I could have got my MOS, duty station, rank and boot camp, like all these things you can get if you hesitate and make them talk you into it. Here's where they frame it as an asset. If you don't survive 30 years, if you pass away because you live an adventurous life or some other BS thing they say during the pitch, your heirs get this. How are your kids going to feel if they get the remaining debt, right? They don't get the timeshare unless it's paid off. They get the timeshare with the remaining debt. No credit check, no income verification. They just get it. Maybe the points would work out for them. Remember, based on the price and the $1,000 a night versus the 25,000 points, it took 50 years to break even. Then we added $2,500 a year annual fee. I'm not even going to do the math on how long it takes for you to break even then. So this is why the exit for the attorney's fees, attorney firms exist to get you out of your timeshare, because breaking that contract, you can't just do it. It's very difficult. Your heirs have 9 months after you die, while all of your stuff might be in probate or your trust is being worked out with whoever you set up to run it. But within those 9 months, they don't go and get out of the trust. It's just as hard for them to get out after that 9th month as it is for you to get out of it after you made the commitment. What a nightmare for my kids to go, if I had bought a timeshare. Here is, let's say, pass away 5 years from now. And so instead of 110,000, they've got 80,000. They inherit 80,000 in debt on a timeshare they might not even want, and $2,500 a year payment on top of that. Congratulations. You're welcome. For me, it was an easy no. To their credit, When I asked questions and when I seemed like I wasn't going to do it, the sales pitch got pretty strong. Here's the double points. Here's the reduced down payment. Use our money, all of the tactics that they used. But the moment I said, it's going to be a pass for me, switch flipped. They didn't keep pushing. They didn't try to cram it down my throat. They didn't say, well, ShamWow, but wait, there's more. I think they might be secret shopper audited. And when somebody says a hard no, you have to accept it. That's an assumption. When you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and umption. So don't do that. But that was what I thought. So if you struggle to say no under pressure, don't let a couple $100 be a temptation to say it's only an hour and a half. And I know I'm going to say no. They're good. They're trained. They know how to make it look shiny. And how do you stop sharing? I don't know. Hey, look at that. There we go. Math still matters. Your math, not the math they give you. Obviously, their math is going to sound great because they're comparing points to years, to inflation, to emotions, to adventure, to the places you want to go, to the experiences you want to have. And you're going to use their money. I hope this video has helped you. This is a nice short video for those people who would never click on a 2-hour video. If you want to watch a nice long video where I answer all the questions about how to reach financial freedom for the average person in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from the best position. That's what I normally talk about. But I hope this helps. You have a day full of amazing. I have my live stream next Tuesday. And then I believe the following weekend, we are in Las Vegas for the One Rental at a Time event. If you saw my first comment here, if you're just listening, That Flipping Nurse won the free Audible book that was given away last Tuesday. Since I have a book out now that is also on Audible, it's on Amazon. It's Financial Freedom for the Lazy Person. You can get it on paper, Kindle, or Audible. I'm giving away an Audible book as often as I can. And in the last Tuesday, I'm stupid. I didn't give it away during the chat. But we hit the goal that I had set. I rolled a nat 1 because I used the Dice of Doom from D&D to give away the books. And That Flipping Nurse, you won the book. So email me. Let me know which one you want. Have a day full of amazing.